What's up, guys? It's your girl, Lady Pelvic of Pelvic Gaming. Happy New Year, happy 2020. I know I said Suikoden 4 would be the first review, but it's taking some time. It's so worth it, though. It's so worth it. I'm going hard, man. I'm going hard for such an average game. But don't worry, you're still in for a treat, because today we're talking about my first ever Tales of game. This is the game that got me into the Tales of series, that made me love grinding in JRPGs. A game that is an abnormality considering what I enjoy. Tales of Graces F, released March 13th, 2012 on PlayStation 3. This is actually a port of the Wii version, which came out December 10th, 2009. It was Tales of Graces, no F. Tales of Graces F got quite a mixed response, but I am here to tell you that this game is fucking great. Special thanks to the 3 people who got me this game for my birthday last year. Lonnie, Lala Kiss Kiss Beam, and Sean Loves Art. Now mama shouldn't play favorites, but this was a great birthday gift. There are 3 parts to the story. First, the prologue, where you're Asbel exploring Lant Hill with your cowardly baby brother, Hubert. You stumble upon a young girl with a totally underutilized trope. Wait for it, here it comes. Amnesia. You name her Sophie and spend the entire child arc trying to find out who she is while befriending the future king, Richard. After friendships are made, getting yelled at by your not girlfriend, and your father, you visit Prince Richard and stumble upon a mysterious being that tears your party apart. Asbel, crushed from his lack of strength, flees his responsibilities of becoming the next Lord of Lant and decides to become a knight. This arc can be a bit of a slog for some. It's 2 to 3 hours of setting up character relations. The main arc, the 7-year time skip, Asbel has been training at the Knight Academy, but gets word that his father has passed away. Immediately he returns home, figuring out the situation between Lant and the neighboring country of Fendel are getting worse. A lot of things are unpacked here. Lant is low-key under the heel of another nation, Strata. Cedric, Richard's uncle, kills the king to usurp the throne and tries to kill Prince Richard. A lot of political mumbo-jumbo. At first, it's about helping the rightful king reclaim his throne. But as you progress, Richard isn't the same loving and honorable man he was as a child. And Sophie begins reacting poorly to him despite them being friends. Richard then begins to descend into madness, stealing the Elith, pretty much world energy, from the Valkanists. It goes from returning Richard to the throne to stopping one of Asbel's closest friends from sucking the planet dry. And finally, after completing the main story, there is the F arc, or the future arc, or more properly titled, Lineage and Legacies. This takes place 6 months after the main story. It kind of expands on the main arc ending. It's short, about 8 to 10 hours, and once you finish, consider doing New Game Plus. Depending on how well you did your first run, you can make your second run harder or easier. A big theme throughout Tales of Graces F is friendship. Yes, the corny and overused element found in most JRPGs. Now, any other time I'd roll my eyes, scoff and gag, but for some reason, Tales of Graces F makes me all about the power of friendship. Replaying this game has reminded me that this is my all-time favorite cast of Tales of characters. Period. I found myself loving characters I didn't particularly care for the first time. Sharia still sucks though. But even so, she doesn't suck as much as the first time. It's crazy. Each character has a typical anime archetype. Asbel, the usual hero, wants to do good. Sophie, the emotionless girl. Sharia, the kind-hearted healer. Hubert, a suit who has a stick up his ass. Pascal, a quirky, happy-go-lucky engineer. There is little to no character development, and you know what? I was fine with that. I adore the characters as they were. I didn't want them to change. Asbel is totally an anomaly to me. I love Asbel, but hate the Goody Two-Shoes character. Asbel is probably top 2 favorite Tales of protagonists for me. It's madness. Malik is an ex-soldier, and like an uncle with wise words to spare. Never cared for him my first playthrough, but round 2, oh my god, I love him. This cast has the best skits. I can't remember the last time I laughed out loud, squealed, and had the biggest, dumbest grin on my face while watching a Tales of skit. Tales of Graces F takes familiar anime tropes of a girl who clearly likes a boy who's oblivious and just runs with it, while everyone else makes snarky remarks about it and she denies it.
She seems a little older than me. So, is this the kind of girl Asbel likes?
Or this game teasing us rabid yaoi fangirls of Asbel and Richard, only to be disappointed later. But seriously, they hold hands so much. Who cares if it's technically to save Richard's life? Their hands are still touching and holding for an elongated period of time. It still counts. This game does not take itself seriously. Harsh moments are made lighthearted and goofy thanks to Pascal. Admittedly, you feel practically no importance or urgency because this game makes it feel like everything's gonna be okay. Because friendship. If you're looking for a deep, heart-aching, and ensnaring story, this isn't it. But damn it, if you want a feel-good JRPG with a goofy and instantly lovable cast of characters, man, this is definitely your game.
We are Hey!
Now we move to what Graces F is known for, praised across the board. Not everyone is crazy about the storytelling, but ask anybody and they'll tell you that Graces F has the best combat in the Tales of series. And I couldn't agree with them more. Let me just start out by saying that I love the tutorials. You learn as you go. If you're inflicted with a status ailment, you'll get a briefing, even if you're 45 hours into the game. It's brief, easy to understand, and does not hinder the pacing. Now, the combat is smooth, quick, and so damn satisfying. Tales of Graces F uses the Chain Capacity System, or CC. All actions require CC. A arts are physical attacks. Depending on what direction you're pushing on the joystick and how much CC you have depends on what move you'll do. B arts think of as magic arts, but depending on what direction you're pushing the joystick will perform the B art. You can string together A and B arts to perform killer combos and hit enemy weaknesses. Hit all the weaknesses within a short time frame and dish heavy damage. Guarding is also important, and there are 3 types of guarding: green, blue, and red. The longer you hold it, the stronger your guard, and your next attack will be critical. You could also free run, do a quick step, perfect dodge to take 0 damage, regain CC, and go on the offensive. While you and your enemies are going at it, you'll notice a blue and red gauge. If you take and deal damage, your side goes up, and as does the enemies. Unless you are a perfect dodger, expect the enemies to meet their mark first. When the gauge fills on either side, an Elith burst happens. If it's for you, you can perform an unlimited amount of arts. For the enemy, they cannot be staggered. During your Elith boost, and depending on your combo count and how full the gauge is, you can unleash a Mystic Art. But be careful, so can your enemy.
Prepare yourself! I'll give you everything I've got! And this! And some of these! Expiation! Well, that was passable.
In the F arc, you get the power of Excel. Excel for each character is different, but for a limited time, a special power activates. For Asbel, a purple flame surrounds him and damages enemies. For Hubert, arrows rain over an area. And if you're in the middle of a combo, you can perform a powerful art. One of the coolest things about Tales of games is you can play as any character. Each character has a vastly different playstyle, different spells, and roles. You can also give your party members orders, customize what arts you want them to use, and tailor the AI's playstyle. After you win, you're awarded XP and SP, or skill points, and if you do extra well in battle, you'll get technicality bonuses, such as more XP and SP. Now, in Graces, leveling up barely matters. You get a few stat bonuses and it's a wrap. Skill points, though, are where it's at. As you progress, you'll gain titles. Each title strengthens that respective character. More HP, higher chance to debuff, stronger against certain types of enemy, learn new arts, etc. Unlock what each title has to offer. Having a master title equipped means the effects are doubled, so keep that in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot express how glorious the battle system is. From the first strike to perfect dodging, timing things just right, unleashing stellar combos, juggling enemies in the air, to unleashing a mystic art. It was all so satisfying. I can proudly say that this is my favorite action RPG, hands down, no contest. I know some of you guys are like, what about Nier Automata? Listen, it depends what you consider a JRPG, and even if I did consider Nier Automata to be a real raw, uncut JRPG, I still think Tales of Graces does it better, because let's be honest, Platinum Games, button mashing. With Graces F, you can get so meticulous and crafty with your combos, and building the character to fit you, it's incredibly rewarding. I can gush about the combat forever, so let's move on to something outside of battle. The Elith Mixer is another handy thing you want to keep an eye on. The Elith Mixer can produce items in battle that heal and raise your stats and have a chance of creating items or other passive effects. The more it's used, the more slots it has, and the more Elith it can hold. While traveling in shops, be sure to refill your mixer and dualize. Dualize with shards to give your weapons and armor extra properties, or make food, and spending money at shops will earn you stamps. Fill out a stamp card and more items will be available to you. At the inn, do the side quests. Yes, they're usually boring quests, requesting an item that can easily be dualized, but you are awarded items and, more importantly, skill points. Trust me, it is so worth it. One thing the Tales of series seems to struggle with is filling the world with interesting things, and while this game isn't quite open world, it still feels empty. They tried to fill it with discoveries, unique landmarks that get you a skit, which was nice, but it didn't stop me from noticing how barren the world was. Some skits would hint that the party should revisit areas, and if you do, you'll see a star which begins a skit that usually ends with you getting a new title. In dungeons, there wasn't even a lot of monsters. Granted, with the Dark Bottle, monsters would appear more frequently. In later dungeons, rooms looked identical, and I can't say there was a lot of thought that went into some of these dungeons. On the other hand, some dungeons went hard with the puzzles, perhaps annoyingly so. To be fair, this is an optional dungeon. And speaking on optional, oh man, if you choose to do the optional boss fights, brace yourself. These fuckers are hard, but you win some of the best weapons in the game. And if you're really ballsy, check out the optional Zone Cage dungeon, which is hard as hell. Enemies grow stronger the more you explore, and the only way to make the counter go down is by fighting. It is brutal, and I only did one of the 10 floors because I did not want to deal with it. I beat the 3 major optional baddies, I'm good, thanks. Near the end game of the main arc, you get fast travel. There are areas to be discovered and only accessible by this way, so be on the lookout. But what I love most is the details of areas. You can see enemy types, what's in shops, in requests, etc, etc. It's a very useful feature. Now we move on to the less interesting stuff, the graphics and the music. There isn't much to say about either. This was originally a Wii game, so keep that in mind. And the jump is pretty amazing actually. Brighter and less blurry. The anime cutscenes still shine in both versions. Same with the artwork and skits. Mentioned before, the dungeons or monster-filled areas, not very interesting. I did like the towns though. I felt like each town was constructed differently than the last. The character models are a weird mix of chibi and not chibi. They're all still cutesy, even if Richard looks angry all the time. What I really want to know is the distance between Sharia's eyes. I feel like I could drive a Tesla truck through them and still have wiggle room. As for the music, I swear to God, Tales of has the most average music of any JRPG I've ever played. I forget 99.9% of the Tales of music the moment I drop the game, and this was no different. The only thing that ever sticks to me is the opening, which is my second favorite, recently dethroned by Tales of Vesperia's opening. But it's still good and it still gives me the feels. It's odd, some of the music was clever, like the child battle theme music, which sounds a little more innocent, and is called Grasp It With All Your Might. Sorry, not the time. Play the song. Now the adult battle theme has the same tempo, but it's harder hitting and is called Sword Drawing Grind. Better, I guess? But then we go to some dungeons and we enter a battle and it's like, this plays? Some were really good. Others, how do we go from an abandoned high-tech facility
Enemies, look out! A warning in this lane.
to violin? I mean, sick violin work and all, but what the hell? It didn't match the dungeon at all. Other areas did it much better. And then we have songs that have like 3 notes. This is it. This is the song. 2 minutes and 20 seconds of... In any case, I'll give my vote to the City of Grailside because it sounded cheery, booming, like it was full of life. It is the one song that was catchy enough to get my attention. So enjoy prosperity in the lakeshore. of Grace's F gets a 10 out of 10 from me, baby. Not because it's a perfect game, but to memory, for my entire YouTube career, this is the first game that made me forget I was supposed to be reviewing the game because it was that damn fun. And I think that speaks volumes. I never do optional boss battles in JRPGs, but in this game, I did 3. After I beat all the arcs, I was happy, I felt powerful, I felt satisfied and ready to do it all again, but on a harder difficulty. Tales of Grace's F rewards you so well for playing the game. For patience, analyzing the enemies, practice your timing, and just land insane combos. It's why Tales of Grace's F is my favorite action RPG, period, point blank, end of discussion. And replaying this game was a lot of fun because I discovered so much stuff that I didn't my first playthrough. I felt like I played 70% of the game my first time around, honestly. I know a lot of this sounds like my nostalgia talking, but this was such a refreshing experience for me. Another reason why I look at Grace's F with such star-studded eyes is because this game takes tropes that I hate and makes me love them for some reason. They do nothing different. Asbel is this goody two-shoes, want to help everybody character, and I hate that, but I love Asbel. Asbel's one of my favorite Tales of protagonists. Don't ask me why. The reasons I love Asbel are the same reasons why I don't give a flying fuck about Lloyd. I also like darker themes in my JRPGs, and frankly, this ain't it. Nor does it try to be over-the-top comical. It's not like a comedy like Disgaea. Also, Tales of Grace's F has my favorite cast. I thought maybe Berseria, I thought maybe Abyss. No. Replaying this game has reminded me, Grace's F best cast. If I had to give maybe a little bit more of an analytical score, 8 out of 10, like the combat alone would carry this game. Yes, the world is bland. Yes, there's not really any character development. Yes, this game doesn't take seriously, it's not deep and brooding and murmur. Also, real quick, I want to add to the story that everyone complains about. It's not a bad story, it's just really lighthearted. You know, if you're expecting something deep and more, I don't know, intense for a JRPG, yeah, you'll be disappointed, but the story isn't bad. It's not egregious. I just don't think it's the best, that's all. And yeah, the side quests are half-assed, but I don't care. I love this game, and you're not going to convince me otherwise. Wrapping things up, I want to say thank you again to the 3 individuals who got me this game. This was such a good birthday gift. Easily one of my favorite games I've reviewed on this channel. And my question I want to pose to you, is there a game, despite its flaws, you will always recommend it to everyone you ever meet ever because you love it so much, you'll just defend it to the death? Because this game, as well as Nier, the original, would be my picks. I am looking forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching. Top box is more reviews like this, and the bottom box is my Let's Play channel. And if you love what I do, please consider joining Patreon. Toodles!